Very important flashes on your screens right now. It is a big corporate development. RBI has said that it has accepted Tata Sons' withdrawal of the bank license application. Remember, this huge group was one of the applicants in the 26 companies which had applied for the banking license, and they have withdrawn from it. And they also say that it is in line with the strategy in the financial services business. And RBI says that they have accepted Tata Sons' withdrawal of the bank license applications. It is a big development. We need to know the reason behind this kind of a withdrawal, but they do say that current financial service model supports its strategy of not going ahead with a banking license. So it is a big development there, and we need to get some reactions going and some more details going in for this one. Now remember that there were 26 applicants who had applied for banking licenses, which are to be doled out by the RBI. Let's straight away go across to Anirudh Ghosh, also joining in with more details. Anirudh, what are you getting from the RBI? Take us through the entire statement and what could be the reason behind it.
Well, Nisha, as you mentioned, the RBI statement is quite short. In fact, they actually said that the Tata Group has withdrawn their application, citing the reasons that it basically doesn't work into the synergies that the group has at this point of time. And of course, if you read between the lines, it just really does seem to point out, as Maithili also was mentioning, the fact that the benefits of turning the Tata Group into a banking group would actually outweigh, the kind of the cost that it will be involved with, given the simple fact that they're going to have to maintain the CRR. They're going to have to maintain an SLR. They're going to have to maintain, they're going to have to put in a lot of money to enter the hinterland, set up branches over there to ensure that they meet that 40% priority sector requirement. So all of that put together really will put a huge amount of cost pressures on them. Add all of this to the fact that it's going to open up the entire group to scrutiny from not just the RBI, but also a number of other agencies. Also, of course, the fact is that, you are going to be looking at a number of other applicants, a number of other aspects as far as banking is concerned. So basically, the Tata Group, for starters, possibly did not want to kind of go ahead and, even if they were to get the license, they possibly had a change of heart to kind of say that, this is not something that we really want to go ahead with and put in so much money and effort to, because quite simply, it's not something that's going to be a very high profit business in the very short term, to say the least. So clearly, that seems to be the reason why the Tata Group would have gone ahead and withdrawn their application. And the RBI, for their starters, clearly, if an applicant isn't looking at setting up a bank, there's really no reason why they shouldn't accept their withdrawal as far as the application is concerned.
Of course, it makes their choice process also a little easier, probably, Anirudh, at this point. But also talk to us about the various stringent norms that you said about the requirements of SLR, CRR, and because of that, M&M Financial Services had withdrawn and had not gone ahead with an application, and some of the other companies also have put in place some exemptions so that they do not lose out on their existing business in order to get into the banking space.
Exactly. If you look at the kind of norms that have been put down by the RBI, they're really non-negotiable. So when it comes to CRR, when it comes to SLR, when it comes to priority sector lending, remember these are the basic tenets of the universal banking franchisee that the RBI is really kind of working on at this point of time. So, a number of companies, as you mentioned, have been quite apprehensive. This M&M Financial was, in the very beginning, they pulled out. They were, of course, given to be one of the front runners before the application list came out. And, of course, they kind of took a smart move in terms of saying that this is something that we don't really want to go ahead with, and they saved themselves the entire effort of even going in for an application. There have been reports, of course, of a couple of other NBFCs looking at asking the RBI for some amount of exemptions as far as these requirements are concerned. But clearly, what we picked up from sources throughout the past couple of months is basically that any company that has been asking for any kind of an exemption is really, it really makes it simpler for the RBI to go ahead and disqualify their application. Now remember that the RBI isn't really looking forward to doling out a huge number of licenses. We've been hearing stories about how the RBI isn't looking at too many licenses, not more than possibly 3 or 4 of them would be given in. And given the fact that we've already got the Women's Bank kind of operational at this point of time, there's possibly place for maybe 3 or 4 more bank licenses to come out at this point of time. Maybe most of them would be, a couple of them could be of the PSU variety, a couple of them could should be of the NBFC variety. So it really, it does open up the question again that will the RBI be open to giving corporate house some kind of, this kind of a leeway as far as the banking license is concerned, and will the RBI really be comfortable with a corporate house setting up a bank? Because remember that the Tata Group is possibly one of the biggest and, arguably one of the finest corporate houses when it comes to corporate governance in India. And if a group like that feels itself that it doesn't, have the wherewithal to set up a bank, it really leaves the question open as to how fit and proper the other applicants are at this point of time.